Hello, welcome to the Gaming Ocean's Tips and Tricks, and today we're going to be looking at gates. All these gates are actual engineering gates that they use in real circuits to get certain inputs that you put in to get a certain output, or kind of output. So these are pretty much what's going to make the basis for everything you know about Redstone. So this is very important. You should pay attention well in this part particularly. So we know that Redstone, we're just going to look at this, basically going into that output tower, makes a straight line, powers, and it gets powered. So, this is our first gate, the NOT gate. Basically, it inverts the signal, because we already know that torches turn off and on when they receive a signal. So, if we put a power in, turns that torch off, and it turns a torch that's getting powered into something that's not getting powered. So, this tower receives absolutely no power if the lever is on. But as soon as we turn off the power to the lever, it lets the torch turn back on and it gives off power again. So it's basically an inverter is also what we call these kind of gates. Now, this is important. This is called the AND gate. The AND gate means that you have to have both of the levers down to hit it. You cannot do any other lever combo to get the desired output. Now I'll show you what this is. Basically, you have two NOT gates that lead into an OR and then another NOT gate. So like, we have this one that's always giving off signal unless it's pushed down. But because this other torch is still on, it's still giving a signal to this torch here, which doesn't let it turn off. Once we turn off power from all the torches, does this torch actually turn on and give off power. This is useful if you want to build like safety switches on dynamite or anything in your house. It's pretty useful. So it's actually one of the more practical gates. This is called an OR gate. OR means that pretty much no matter which lever you have selected, they all make it work. So no matter which one, they all give off a signal. This is pretty much anywhere where you wire things together. I just kind of put them all in this block to show you. By the way, black wool means it's a gate with our color coding system, so you should do well to remember that. It helps you recognize the gates better. This is the most complex of our basic gates, called the XOR gate. XOR means exclusively OR. This is pretty much where if you have two levers on the same position and you click one, it's on. So now that they're in different positions, it's on. If I click this so they're in the same position again, it turns back off. So you see, they have to both be in different positions in order to get a power out. And that's pretty useful if like you have one lever outside a door and it opens the door, and then you have a lever on the inside of the door and you can hit that again so it closes it. So you can actually close your doors from the outside if you wire them with levers. So it's pretty useful. And now we're going to head back here because now we're going to learn the inverse of every gate we have. This is called the NOT gate. Basically, it's the NOT gate with an extra NOT gate added in, which reinverts it. It gives off the exact same signal as this because, I'll show you. You take this signal and it goes in and it inverts it, but because it inverts again, it goes back to being regular redstone. So you can see as it's not powered, but if you click the lever, it gets powered. Now, you use this pretty much just to extend redstone streams and things like that because it gives you the same basic output as this. NAND gate basically means not and. It's the exact opposite of an AND gate, meaning that it's always on unless you have both the levers pulled down. And you do this by removing the inverter at the end. It's, contrary to this has an inverter out. This is the NOR gate, meaning not OR, so it's basically this gate with an inverter on the end, which I added here. Now it's on always unless any lever is flipped. It doesn't matter which lever, as long as it's flipped. And that's basically where you have two streams that run together and then they both go into a NOT gate. and this is XNOR. Now basically it's the exact opposite of an XOR gate, which you can see here. It's pretty complex to set up, but so this should be pretty well memorized for when you guys want to build something. Now, once we have this XNOR, we see that they're in the same position and you get power. And if they're in different positions, you don't get power. And this basically is just the result of adding a NOT gate at the end of it to invert the signal again. So basically, this XNOR is the same as an XOR with a NOT gate added at the end. Okay, so that's all of our basic gates. I'm also going to show you guys latches real quick. Now, this is called an RS latch, but I call them memory gates, just because it's catchy. So, we have this, and basically you see how if I hit the button, nothing happens. But, if I hit the other button, because this one goes into this NOT gate, and this NOT gate goes into this NOT gate, and the button I'm on goes into the NOT gate that leads into our original one. So basically, because this is on, it locks this one off in position. The only way to get this torch on is to turn this torch off, which we would do by powering this block with redstone. So I would hit the button, and now you see it's on, because I turned this torch off, even just for a second, and I let this torch turn on. And because this torch turned on, it powers this block now, and that block stays off unless we turn that torch off. So you can see, no matter how many times I click it, it won't close unless I hit the other button. So the only way to change the signal is to go back and forth between buttons. Now this is pretty useful if you have like a trip plate, and like once you step on the trip plate it keeps stuff open. You don't have to keep standing on it. Or if you have a button and you want to keep the button where it keeps something open unless you get off for some reason. So that's pretty much what the main use for this is. There are a bunch of other uses. It helps remember what position all the redstone's in and everything. So basically, this is all the latches and gates that you'll need to know for basic redstone. You can use this on a bunch of different things. Safety switches. You can have multiple switches to the same thing. You can have one switch kind of turned off by the other. And you can have buttons that keep themselves memorized, and then you can have the inverse of all these. So, thank you for watching. Please remember to comment, rate, subscribe, and we'll have more soon.